Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this would be episode 192 for you guys today. And we're going to be kicking off this week's episode by me sharing my AFC and NFC championship game summary. So I'll be going over the two championship games that we've seen in each respective conferences this previous weekend in the NFL. So starting off with the NFC championship game, you had the Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Washington Commanders by a score of 55-23 in the NFC Championship, and the Eagles getting the better of their divisional foe in the Washington Commanders in a battle of the NFC East inside the NFC Championship. The Eagles punched their ticket to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans this year. So, watching this game between the Eagles and the Commanders, the Eagles were the more physical team and obviously the better team on paper, and the Eagles got the better part of the Washington Commanders in this NFC Championship game, winning the season series 2-1 this year in the NFL season. But I have to say that the Commanders' defense could not slow down the Philadelphia Eagles' offense. And this is one of the games I've been very critical of former offensive coordinator for us as a Cowboys fan, Kellen Moore. But this was one of the games where, being the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, he was in his bag. And I liked a lot of play calls that I've seen in this game. Saquon Barkley ran the ball effectively. He had 118 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had his best passing game in a long time, had some really good deep balls in the game. Really took advantage of the one-on-one coverage that A.J. Brown was receiving from the Washington Commanders secondary. So like I said, Kellen Moore was in his bag, play calling, offensively, passing the ball and running the ball. And the Commanders, their mistakes and turnovers cost them in this game against the Philadelphia Eagles, because when you turn over the ball in a lot of crucial situations, you put your team in a hole, and they couldn't dig themselves out of this hole. Jaden Daniels, it sucks because Jaden Daniels had one of, if not the greatest rookie season at the quarterback position in NFL history. And the Washington Commanders have everything to be proud of what this young man, number 5, has done for this franchise already. And I already say that Jaden Daniels is top 5 at quarterbacks in the National Football League already. I will say right now, obviously Patrick Mahomes, then Lamar Jackson in my opinion, then Burrow, then Allen. And I would put Jaden Daniels right behind these 4 respective quarterbacks. That's how special he's been. The fact that he took this Washington Commanders roster to be 12-5, having a huge turnaround. Again, this is a Washington Commanders team that just had the 2nd overall pick last spring, drafting Jaden Daniels. And they went all the way to the NFC Championship. And Jaden Daniels helped the Commanders win 2 road playoff games against 2 really good teams in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions on the road. I got to say, they got the right one at quarterback with Jaden Daniels. And this is going to be the worst roster that he's going to have in a very long time, because the front office, they're serious. New front office that Washington has now, they're serious about winning. And they'll make the moves this offseason to make the team better. They'll get another wide receiver to play alongside Terry McLaurin, whether it's in the draft or the NFL free agency, and they'll fix up on the other holes that they have. They have $93 million in cap space this offseason, so they have a lot of money to play with. And as a Cowboys fan, I'm just going to have to see these 2 teams take over the division for even longer, that being the Eagles and the Commanders. But Sunday, I like what I saw from the Eagles offensively, defensively, to punch their ticket with a dominating victory to get back to the Super Bowl, becoming NFC champions this year. Now, on the AFC side, you had the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Buffalo Bills by a score of 32-29 in another instant classic. The Kansas City Chiefs have won their 3rd straight AFC championship, and they have punched their ticket to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59 to represent the AFC conference this year. So, when it matters most, Patrick Mahomes always gets the best of Josh Allen. Yes, we know the history of Josh Allen getting the better part of Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but when the lights are on bright and the moment and when everything matters, Patrick Mahomes has gotten the better of Josh Allen. He's 4-0 against Josh Allen in the postseason. That's saying a lot, because since the 2020s have begun, that's how many times Patrick Mahomes has sent Josh Allen home. 4 times. So the Chiefs, they played like back-to-back Super Bowl champions in this AFC Championship game against the Buffalo Bills. And Patrick Mahomes outplayed Josh Allen by this much. And Josh Allen played really well. He didn't even turn over the football, but that's how well the Kansas City Chiefs as a collective unit played against this Buffalo Bills team on Sunday. And what Patrick Mahomes was doing, he made plays with his arm, he made plays with his legs, having 2 scoring touchdowns, rushing the football. And it came down to Kansas City Chiefs scoring 3 straight scoring drives to close out the game to help Kansas City win this game. I mean, Kansas City's defense actually showed up big when it matters most. They got the stops that they needed. They had that big 4th and 1 stop that Josh Allen tried to get the quarterback sneak with. They stuffed them at the line of scrimmage, and it was turnover on down. Then the bold 4th and 5 play that Steve Spagnuolo called a corner blitz. They brought the pressure to Josh Allen. Josh Allen had no choice but to heave the ball. And the fact that he heaved the ball and threw it to Dalton Kincaid, their tight end, he was open and dropped the ball. Just like in a similar way of how Mark Andrews for the Ravens dropped the ball in a crucial moment for them to possibly get to the AFC Championship game. If they converted that 4th down, we don't know what would have happened, because we know both Allen and Mahomes do a lot of magical things with a lot less time on the clock. Just call it back to their playoff game that they had a few years ago when 13 seconds was all that Patrick Mahomes needed. So we would never know what would happen. But the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs just find a way. No matter if they were 15-2 this year, they didn't look strong all year long. This team has found themselves, they've somehow found a way to get back to another Super Bowl. The 3rd straight AFC championship that they won in a row. And they're looking to become the first team in NFL history to three-peat in NFL history. But again, back to this game, the Chiefs pass rush, their defensive line, players like Chris Jones and several others, they helped the defense get stops and get them off the field, the Bills offense off the field when it mattered most. They didn't get the turnovers that they were looking for out of Josh Allen, but the fact that the pressure was getting home, they were winning the battle in the trenches in the second half of the ball game, getting the better part of the Buffalo Bills offensive line. That is going to be one of the pivotal reasons if they do three-peat and beat the Eagles in 2 weeks. Their defensive line is going to be one of the biggest reasons why they win that game and go on to become the first team in NFL history to three-peat. But Josh Allen, back to my point, he did not turn over the ball in this game, and they still lost. And at his best, he still can't beat Patrick Mahomes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this was Josh Allen's best year as a pro. We still don't know who's going to win the MVP award between himself and Lamar Jackson, but touchdown and interception ratio, stats, passing and rushing, this was statistically Josh Allen's best year, and he still couldn't get over the hump and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs when it mattered most. And realistically, they were the Chiefs went 15-2, but if you're going to count where all the starters played for KC this year, the Bills are the only team that actually dethroned the Chiefs when all the starters played on the field. So Josh Allen now finds himself in a similar situation to what these quarterbacks in the early 2000s found themselves in the AFC. And that is falling victim to the best quarterback around. Look at all the quarterbacks from the early 2000s that possibly could have had more rings if they weren't in the same conference as Tom Brady. I'm talking Peyton Manning. I'm talking Ben Roethlisberger. I'm talking Phillip Rivers that unfortunately never got a Super Bowl ring. Eventually, these guys like Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger eventually dethroned Tom Brady. But look how long it took them to dethrone them when it mattered most in the AFC playoff time. Josh Allen, this is his 4th time failing. He now finds himself at a roadblock trying to beat the best of the best. And in his words, in order to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. And they did not do that on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. So there is still the most insane stat. I'm going to close this out. There is still an insane stat. There is only one active quarterback in the National Football League that has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. That's how dominant he's been being in the postseason. This is like Mother Nature to him. This is like training camp. Or this is like preseason to Patrick Mahomes. He's so used to it at this point. The only quarterback that beat him in the playoffs that's active is Joe Burrow. And that was back in 2022. And of course, Tom Brady has beaten Patrick Mahomes twice in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship, and the Super Bowl in the past. But it just seems like these top AFC guys, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they can't beat Patrick Mahomes when it matters most. So that makes me think, even if they don't three-peat this year, the Chiefs got a vice grip on the AFC conference that they might not let go of for a very long time. But that is my AFC and NFC championship game summaries on the championship games that we saw this previous weekend in the NFL for the NFL playoffs.